Today I'm going to be talking about the biggest mistakes I made in my Pokemon card business and what I've learned. As you guys may know, I've been running this business for almost a full year now, so I've gone through a lot of different challenges and I made a lot of mistakes. So I'm going to go through a few of them. So the first one is going to be comparing myself to others. And this is something that can be applied to pretty much any business, especially when you're first starting out. You will go and look at your competitors and you will see how large their inventory is or how large their website is, and you'll see how many sales they're making every day. And if you go on Whatnot, for example, you'll go to the top shows and you'll see they're selling and selling and selling. But you have to remember, especially if you're first starting out, that you're on a different playing field than these people. They've been at it for years, more than likely, and if not, they've already had connections. Set your own goals. Focus on your own growth. You don't need to look at other people's growth. You can look at it as inspiration, but don't constantly look at other shops and compare yourself to them. So that's something that I struggled with starting out, and it's something I still struggle with every once in a while, and I always have to remind myself I'm on my own path and everyone else is on theirs too. So the second mistake that I've made was not being knowledgeable about my product. And this mostly applies to when I was first starting out. I was selling shiny treasure boxes, and I was able to get a lot of boxes at a great deal. And I later learned that the reason I was getting such a great deal is because they were about to be reprinted. And if you know anything about Japanese Pokémon sealed boxes, once they get reprinted, the price of them can drop severely. For example, I had the boxes for about $80, and then once they got reprinted, they dropped to $60. And thankfully, I didn't get too many boxes, so I wasn't impacted horribly. But dropping $20 a box, that can really hurt if you have a lot of inventory and you spent a lot on your inventory. And another problem with not being knowledgeable about your product is setting the wrong prices. For example, if you had a box that is worth $70 and you set it at $80 and it never sells, and you blame other people for not buying it, well, they're of course not going to buy an overpriced box. And same goes for if you set the price too low, it'll sell quickly, which is great if you're able to still profit. But if you're running a business, you obviously want to maximize your profits. But you want to be knowledgeable about your product. Especially if you're going to be selling a new product, you want to know everything about it. You want to know the prices of the market, and you want to know exactly who you're going to be selling it to, what platform, and what people are going to expect when they open the product. Especially if you're doing a rip and ship, knowing the cards that are in the box will definitely make you look a lot better than if you didn't know any of the cards. So being knowledgeable about your product is a mistake that I made, but it's something that can easily be overcame. And that kind of leads into the next mistake, and that's overcommitting and buying too much product. This is something that happened to me at the beginning. I bought too many shiny treasure boxes, and thankfully I was lucky and able to offload them before the price dropped. But you don't want all of your capital tied up into a certain product that might be reprinted, and you also want to minimize your risk. So especially with Japanese boxes, you don't need to buy like 1,000 of boxes or something crazy. You can just buy a little bit at a time, and especially when you're starting out, don't buy too much. Especially, you don't want to miss out on potential opportunities where someone might come to you and they want to sell their collection and you don't have the capital because it's all tied up in inventory. And you also don't want to have too much capital tied up in a certain product that might fluctuate and the demand might die out. For example, Cyber Judge boxes right now have almost no demand compared to, Super Electric Breaker, for example. So if I went all out and bought 1,000 boxes of Cyber Judge, I would have a hard time selling that right now because the demand has really died down on it. So don't overcommit, especially when you're starting out. Just start out a little bit at a time and build your way up and realize how many customers you have that are going to buy. And once you get to a certain level, you will know how much you will need to buy, but start out small and grow that way. So the last mistake that I'm going to go over that I made is spreading myself too thin by not saying no. And basically, this means that you have an opportunity come up and you don't want to say no to it because you know you can make money off of it. Just know that it's okay to say no to a deal if you think it's going to take you a long time to sell. For example, like I don't really enjoy selling single cards right now, so I'm not going to say yes to a collection buy, even if it might make me money. Unless it's like an insanely good deal, I'm probably going to say no. And another thing, if you're already spending hours selling through another inventory and you realize that it's going to take you a long time before you even get to that other offer, you might want to say no to it because you might get burnt out. And burnout is a real thing, especially in this business. You could spend hours and hours listing cards, packing orders, and easily get burnt out. So sometimes you just need to say no for your own sake, and you got to realize that you got to spend your time wisely. So that's basically it. Those are my 4 main mistakes: comparing myself to others, not being knowledgeable about the product, overcommitting and buying too much product, and spreading myself too thin by not saying no. Hopefully this video was helpful to anybody starting their Pokemon business, and I think it's pretty relatable, these mistakes, for almost any business, really. And I'm definitely interested to hear in the comments below if anyone else has ran into these mistakes or have any other ones that they would like to share. And I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of in this video, but I just wanted to share my current ones that I'm at the top of my head. I'm sure there's other mistakes that I'm not thinking of, but I just wanted to share these in the video. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.